Welcome back. Today we're going to be unboxing a watch from a newer micro brand. It's called Camp Watches. They're based out of Los Angeles and they have created a gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous 39mm field watch. They call it the Field Timer and I can't wait to take a look at it in the metal. Last week I reviewed a fantastic watch by Tool Watches, a Filthy 13 take on the Dirty Dozen World War II field watches. And today I'm so excited because we have a different take on a field watch. I haven't even unboxed this yet. I haven't looked at it, but I saw it on Bob's channel at Time to Go Travel and Timepieces, and he was kind enough to lend it into me on a Canadian tour. And I will say that Camp Watches was kind enough to lend this to me. It's another Swiss-made micro brand, and I'm really excited to open this. I think this is going to be really up my alley. So let's take a look at it. Oh, okay. We have a bracelet in here. Interesting. So inside that cardboard box is a little bag. Kind of reminds me of what my Oakleys used to come in back in the 90s. It has a drawstring here. Oh, and there's another bag within the bag. Check it out. That's awesome. There's something stuffed inside this bag as well. A smaller bag. What's in here? We have, let's see. Oh, that's awesome. Isn't that cool? It's very cool. And it looks like there's some spring bars in there as well. Kind of hard to get my fat fingers in there. Okay, setting all that aside, let's take a look at this. This is a velvety soft drawstring here. And opening up the flap, we see two items here. This is going to be a leather strap. Check that out. That is funky, funky buckle. Chunky, funky buckle. Chunky, funky buckle. A chunky, funky buckle. A chunky, funky buckle. Very nice. And then this is on. Oh, all right. Oh, I love this. That is so nice. Check that out. That pale green color. That is so unique. Holy cow, I love it. Let's give it a wind and take a look. Actually, when I was clearing up some room, there was also a bracelet in that pouch as well. So we have a bracelet, we have a strap, and then we have the watch itself. So what's the gist of the Field Timer manual wind? Well, according to Camp Watches, their tagline is Swiss Heart, California Soul. Made in Switzerland and designed in Los Angeles, Camp Watches embody the inimitable culture and colors of Southern California, but instead of dreams, they run on the precision of customized Sellita SW210 mechanical movements. That's really cool. But here's the gist of this thing. This is a modern field watch with lacquer enamel dials and a mid-century inspired typography. That's a big word, isn't it? They call it a festival of color and style. And if you look at the different variations that they have, they are correct. Now let's talk about the case. The case is 16L stainless steel, as you can see. And man, is this thing pretty. It has curves and angles everywhere. Whoever designed this case, they spent a lot of time. Check out the drilled lugs there in the corner, but also how it angles upwards there. That is just absolutely beautiful. The brushing on this is fantastic. The lines and the angles, they really pop. And then this is the best part. When you turn it over, you get that amazing Swiss-made mechanical movement with no automatic rotor in the way. This is hand wind only, and it is a real beauty. And of course, it tells you that it's stainless steel, that it's made in Switzerland, that has a sapphire crystal, and that it is called the Field Timer. Now they tell us that this is a 39mm watch, but of course I like to check for myself. What I'm coming in at here is 38.8, 38.9. You really do have to get it on that center point. So yeah, 39mm. If you're shopping for straps, and you probably don't need to, considering how much this comes with, you're looking at 20mm. The lug-to-lug is a respectable 46.5. Crown is a tiny 5.3, but this right here is the real showstopper, 10mm. On the dot. Now looking at your strap options, you have three that actually come with this watch. You have a, as they describe it, buttery buttery, full grain Italian leather strap, which we will try on in a minute. Doesn't look like Bob really used this one a whole lot. You have a Cordura nylon strap, which is pretty cool as well. And I really like that silver sheen to it. And then this one here is a steel bonk lip style bracelet. I have no idea. Oh, and it's in two pieces. What a bonk lip style bracelet is, but I guess I'm about to find out. So before we look closer at the dial, I want to show you the different options that you have, particularly the different colorways. I really like this Atlantic blue, and I think it might be my choice, although, oh, this green is pretty good. It comes in at 1,298 Canadian dollars. This is the version we have. It's called Florida Green. Interesting that they're talking about California, but referencing Florida, I guess. And this is Malaga Red, all 1,298 Canadian dollars, which is a bit much, and we might talk about that a little bit in a minute. But here's the thing. This is a Swiss movement watch. It's actually Swiss made, which is kind of a big deal. And it's kind of interesting. When I started reviewing micro brands, they used the most basic Seiko movements, but it's really cool to see how people are starting to desire micro brands with upscale or refined movements. According to the website, the dials are the deepest, most luxurious polished lacquer physically possible. They have 15 layers of stove enameled Berlac Swiss lacquer. I have no idea what Berlac Swiss lacquer is. Hand rubbed, oven cured for a total thickness of 1.3 millimeters, which is crazy because the whole watch itself is 10 millimeters. And of course, that is a huge plus for this watch. Floating above the sea of color is a joyous celebration of unique typography, each dial telling its own story. And you can see here that this dial has its own really cool looking numbers. This one here is the one we have before us. You've seen that. And this one has that sort of outlined font that I can never seem to make work in PowerPoint for some reason. It looks good here on this version of the watch, though. That is really, really cool. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it is 100 meters water resistant, which is awesome with this box double dome sapphire crystal. That's not bad, but the crown itself is not screw down. So do take that into account if you want to go swimming with this beautiful watch. Now, one thing that is great about the straps that they provide is that they are quick release. Fantastic. So that means if you want to change your strap, it is super easy peasy. I can do it even with my pretentious white gloves on. So I thought I would change straps just to give this a bit of a different look. And I just absolutely love this dial. It is gorgeous. It's very subtle and the details really matter on this. I'm loving that font below the pinion, which is fantastic. That subtle yellow line. The shade of green complemented by the green on the numbers. For a dial that is sort of color on color, it's actually pretty legible in person. At some angles, I know I can wash it out on camera, but it's the depth of those applied markers. I assume they're applied. They are certainly quite thick. It's the depth of those markers that gives it a lot of legibility. And of course, that really great look to the hour hand and the second hand. They look black. They appear to be a brushed silver, a brushed nickel. I'll know a little bit better when I get it under some macro. The logo is really cool. I like the logo a lot. I like the white seconds hand with the yellow tip that sort of matches the crosshairs. Notice that the crosshairs stop before the logo and then continue on past it. Same with the text below the pinion. I mean, just every choice on this dial, on this watch, man, this is a beauty. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I really, really like this watch. I don't know if you can tell. So throwing it on my 8.5-inch wrist, I do have a bit of a problem. This is a beautiful strap, but I cannot get it done up. I would say you're going to want to have a 6.5-inch, 7-inch wrist if you're going to pull this one off at most. Okay, this is a really interesting bracelet. It's one piece, sort of like in NATO. You push these and it loosens right up, and then you can slip your wrist right out. Because of the way it works, it has almost infinite adjustment, which is fantastic. It's super comfortable, super flexible. I don't know if I really like that buckle. I don't know if I like the rest of it, but it is absolutely comfortable. I'd have to live with this one for a while. Just note that there are 2 different bracelets, at least in my package. One for bigger wrists and one for smaller wrists. Because of the way that it comes off, you have to be able to slip it over your hand like that. So what are 2 things I like and 2 things I don't like? Well, starting with the likes, it's hard not to begin with that gorgeous dial. Man, that thing is a beauty. The enamel dial really shines. Everything is so well thought out. I love the use of color, and I love that case. Both the finishing on the case, which is excellent, even for a watch up around almost $1,000. It is absolutely well done. And the shape, the design of the case, it's got so many different lines and curves to it. It just wears so well. And I don't know, I'm really in love with this watch. But no watch is perfect, and so there are a couple things I would change. Number 1, all 3 straps. They might work for you if you have a smaller wrist, but for me, with an 8.5-inch wrist, unfortunately, none of them really fit, except for that bracelet. I'm not quite sure about that bracelet. However, this problem is easily remedied. I put it on this beautiful green strap, and man, I don't think I would take it off this strap anyway. And the second con that I have with this watch is simply that it isn't the most legible watch. When I first unboxed it, I said it's surprisingly legible, and it is under bright light. But at twilight, early morning, late evening, it's not going to be the brightest. The lume is not the strongest on this watch, which honestly, I really don't care. But if you check it out up against a Seiko SKX, which is really unfair if you think about it, it's definitely not as bright. But even compared to a watch by Tool Watches that I reviewed last week, it isn't nearly as bright as well. But I do like that the second hand is a lume. That's really fun to watch as it makes its way around the dial. Now, I bet you were expecting me to say the price was a con, and in my eyes, it's not. $900 is more than reasonable for this watch. In fact, don't tell them, but I'd pay more for this watch. Not right now because I've been renovating the house, but if I had the budget, this would definitely be at the top of my list. Well, thanks to Camp Watches for lending this one in, and thanks to all of you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, even if you didn't, why not click like and subscribe down below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.